My name is Kevin Young, and I have a lot of roles in the compassionate inquiry community. I'm a facilitator of the year-long training. I'm a circle steward and educator, and I also lead and help out with the facilitated short course program. That's a really big question. Am I allowed to say the universe? Am I allowed to say it had to happen? Can I tell a short story? So in about 2017, I had noticed a little quote on social media, and it was something like, people who are addicted are the most traumatized people in our society, yet we criminalize them and punish them and put them in jail. And I thought that really speaks to my heart. So I shared the post. I just shared that and reflected how much I loved it. And then later that year for Christmas, my then wife bought me a book. And on Christmas Day, I just opened the book and I thought, I'll just read 1 or 2 pages of this book. You know, it's Christmas Day, I'll just read 1 or 2 pages. And I started reading the book. And I just kept reading the book and reading the book and reading the book and reading the book. And I read the book in, maybe 3 or 4 days. And I said to my wife, why did you buy me that book? And she said, because that is by the same guy whose post you posted a few months ago and you never stopped talking about the post. And the book was In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, Close Encounters with Addiction by Gabor Maté. And when I read that book, I think like so many of us, I just thought, this man is speaking what my heart wants to say. This man is talking, using the words and expressing himself how I want to express myself. And I then just went and searched for Gabor Maté and found some videos. And at that stage, there was no training, there was no compassionate inquiry. But I just signed up for Gabor's newsletter or whatever that was to stay involved. And I got a little message to say that there's some training available to do with compassionate inquiry. And I applied and I got accepted. And the rest is history. That nearly made me cry, thinking of that answer. What is compassion? For me, I can only answer for me. I don't know what compassion is, but I can only say what it is for me. And compassion for me is witnessing that another being is suffering and being called to do something about that. That's what compassion is for me. Whether that's a human being or an insect or a plant or the earth or a spirit, compassion is not permitting suffering when there's something that I can do about it. That's what compassion is for me, I think. My role as a facilitator is to create a space, a safe, non-judgmental, compassionate space where people can follow the path back to themselves. To create a space, to create a community, to create it's almost a science that allows people to follow the path that leads them back to themselves. That's what compassionate inquiry is for me. The difference between doing that on our own and doing that in a community is that in a community we have support. We have people to mirror and reflect back to us. We have people to see us and hear us. We have people to help us. We have people to share their stories with us. In a community we can see that we're not alone. In a community we can lean on some people when we have to lean on some people. And in a community we can be leaned on when people need to lean on us also. So there's a big difference in doing it on your own. Doing this sort of work on your own can be very frightening. It can be very overwhelming. I think it can take a long time to do this work on your own. But in a community, I think it speeds the process up. So I'm from the north of Ireland, and the north of Ireland has had its share of trauma and trouble and violence and segregation and separation and sectarianism, still suffers from that. And I've been lucky enough over the last few years to deliver the facilitated short course from Compassionate Inquiry to many professionals. So doctors, nurses, midwives, dietitians, speech therapists, yoga teachers in the north of Ireland where I'm from. And they're telling me that when they bring Compassionate Inquiry into their work, so they're not doing Compassionate Inquiry as a modality of therapy, they're using Compassionate Inquiry as midwives and as yoga teachers and as speech therapists and as dietitians. And they're telling me that this approach is really helping them move their clients along this healing journey much quicker. So it's Compassionate Inquiry through me. And I mean that I've been lucky enough to be one of the lines that Compassionate Inquiry moves from Gabor and Soother and our community into where I'm from, is having a direct impact on the trauma of the country and the society and the communities where I'm from. And it's changing things. And I'll tell a very brief story also. I had some people from what's called the Youth Justice Agency in the north of Ireland. And the Youth Justice Agency is an agency that works with young people who have committed a crime and they're about to enter the criminal system. They're probably going to go to jail. They're about to start this path into incarceration, jail, and we all know what happens when we move into that path. And one of the gentlemen who did the facilitated short course with Compassionate Inquiry, he told me that he presented a case to a judge about a young person, and he did it from a trauma-informed place. So he presented to the judge that this young person had been abused and had grown up in a family that was broken, and the judge looked favourably on this young person because he had seen the trauma history of the young person, and that young person didn't go to prison. I mean, that's a direct impact on the life of a human being, and I just think, that makes my heart sing to hear that. So the facilitated short course from Compassionate Inquiry is a shorter version of our professional training. The facilitated short course lasts for 20 weeks, and we help people understand the structure, the modality of Compassionate Inquiry. We help people understand what trauma is and how it affects people, how they live their lives when they have experienced trauma. It gives people a real grounding in trauma-informed help, helping people from a trauma-informed place. It's usually taken by professionals who are working in other areas, midwifery, medicine, yoga teachers, occupational therapists, and they will take the skills they learn from the facilitated short course and apply it to their own work. To be trauma-informed means that we understand why a person is behaving as they're behaving. So it takes away blame, it takes away criticism, and it allows us to help a person from the place where they are at rather than where we want them to be. So it helps us understand that someone's neurobiology, someone's behavioral traits, someone's belief systems, someone's nervous system may be in a certain place. And if we want to help them heal, we have to understand where that place is. We have to understand where they're at. So to be trauma informed helps us reach people exactly where they are without expecting them to be different before we help them. When we're interacting with people, we might not understand why they are behaving in a certain way. We might be trying to intervene, we might be trying to take away an addictive substance, to take away an addictive behavior. And when we don't understand why the person is using that substance or behavior, what we're taking away from them is their soother, the thing that they're using to soothe pain. And if we take away the thing that people are using to soothe pain, what they're left with is pain. And then it's not a great surprise that people return to the thing that they were using to soothe. So if we can understand why people are using something and understand why they're in pain, we can try to help them with the pain rather than with the thing that they're using to soothe the pain. Does that make sense? Well, it's applicable in my personal life because I'm a human being, first of all, and I have to engage with other human beings. I have to live in the world. I have a family. I have children. I have friends. And when I can understand where those people are coming from, and when I can understand where I'm coming from in relation to them, then I can be compassionate. I can be present with them. I can be authentic with them. And then in my personal life, I spent a long time addicted to anything that would help me not feel how I felt when I was clean. Drugs, alcohol, isolation, excitement. Yeah, partying, recreation. Spent a long time trying to run away from myself because myself was in pain. I spent a long time trying to move away from that pain and never got very far. The pain always followed me, so I always needed to use more of something to not feel the pain. And when I began to use the skills that I've learned in compassionate inquiry on myself, I started to heal the pain. So I was able to stop running and was able to connect with myself. And I find that now that I've done that, I mean, I'm 50 years old next month, and I believe that I'm as close to my authentic self as I've ever been. I don't drink alcohol. I don't use drugs. I move a lot slower than I used to. I sit still a lot more than I used to. So using compassionate inquiry and a trauma-informed way of thinking, I've been able to heal myself. And then when I do that, that gives me the opportunity to sit in front of people and say, I get it. I get it. I know where you are. I've been there. I understand. And healing is possible. And I know that firsthand. So I think that's a really powerful thing to sit with people and say, I understand you. I know how it is for you. Authentically. I'm not making it up. I get it. I know how it is.